I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed right now. I'm very annoyed right now. The Pistons lose tonight in overtime to the Charlotte Hornets, 121-123. I thought last game was annoying. I thought the game against the Bulls, when the Pistons allowed Nikola Vucevic to just go wild and Zach LaVine go crazy in the fourth quarter. I thought they would have came back with some fight early tonight. I thought they would have tried to put this game early away tonight, especially playing the Hornets, who they lost to by 1 point when they shouldn't have lost that game. This game was very, very disappointing tonight. From the jump, from the start, right? From the very beginning of this game, they just didn't have the juice. They just didn't have the motivation, it didn't seem like. Their head was not in the game tonight. They didn't come out swinging. They always have been, the Pistons have been a very reactive team all season long. Very reactive. Very reactive. Always reacting to what the other team was doing. Always allowing the other team to hit first. I've talked about this all season long. The Pistons have had an issue with getting off to slow starts, coming out the gate very sluggish. And tonight was no different. They went down 15-7 a few minutes into the game. They went down 20-9 about 5 minutes into the game. And they just didn't seem to have the energy or the effort. They just didn't seem like they were motivated to come win this game. And I just couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand what it was. It's not like the Charlotte Hornets play great defense. They play terrible defense. They don't play defense at all. They're not a defensive team. But the Pistons were just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot all night long. Whether it was turnovers, whether it was bad shots, whether it was not getting loose balls. They didn't look like they wanted this game enough. They did not look like they wanted to win this game. They looked like they would have been happy with the win, but they didn't look like there was a sense of desperation to go get this game. It just wasn't there. And against a team like Charlotte, who isn't a great basketball team, who beat you already when they shouldn't have, if it's me, I'm coming out the gate swinging. I'm putting these guys away early. I'm letting them know that game before was a fluke. There was none of that tonight. None of it. At all. So let me just give y'all some initial thoughts, man. Like I said, the Pistons started really slow in this game. They came out flat again, and they just didn't bring the defensive intensity, man. Last game, the Bulls shot 50% from three. Tonight, the Hornets shot 45%. The Pistons were terrible on closeouts tonight from three. They were not closing out, rotating at all. Every rotation was slow in the first half, or non-existent. The Pistons just were not locked into this game. Miles Bridges didn't even play this game. He didn't even play. LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller were the only culprits tonight, really, for the Hornets offensively. They scored 60% of the Hornets' first half points, 36 of 63. And despite that, though, the Pistons were still somehow only down 4 at halftime because their bench came in and basically outplayed the starters all night long with their effort. All night long, the bench outplayed the starters, right? As a collective, as a group. And I was hoping that because the Pistons were only down 4, after all that, the second half they would wake up. But they came out the exact same way they did in the first half. Sluggish and uninterested. That was the frustrating part. They didn't seem to care, really. They didn't even seem to really be engaged. I don't want to say they didn't care, but compared to other games recently that we've seen them play with effort, they just did not seem interested in this game. The bench was much more engaged defensively. The bench seemed to be playing harder. They played with more cohesion. They were moving the basketball. They were getting up into guys, right? It was just a different energy between the bench and the starters. We're going to get to that more later. And the most frustrating thing for me in this game, because the Pistons were down 20 at one point in this game, just sleepwalking through the game. They actually made it interesting in the fourth quarter. They erased a 20-point lead, got it all the way down to 5, and then took the lead. And the reason was because of effort. It was because of effort. They didn't turn the ball over, and they played hard defensively. That's literally it. That's why they got back into the game. Like, if the Pistons would have played the way they played the entire game, the way they played in that fourth quarter, they would have won this game comfortably. And that's why I always talk about playing 4 quarters. I say it all the time. The Pistons have problems and struggle with playing 4 quarters. They play great a few quarters, 2 or 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter they fall apart. Or they start off slow and then eventually get it going later in the game like tonight. You can't do that in the NBA. You can't do that. All these guys are NBA players. You can't expect to just be able to get back into games. And honestly, the Pistons, I'm going to keep it real. The Pistons don't have enough offensive firepower to get down like this. They don't. We're not a high-scoring offensive team right now. That's not what we have. Our team is built on balanced scoring, ball movement, and tough defense. So if you get down early and you're not bringing the defensive intensity, you're done. You're done. And that's why tonight was so frustrating, because why do you wait until the fourth quarter to try to get into the game? Why do you wait until the fourth quarter to wake up? Are you bored the first few quarters? That's what I don't understand. I just don't understand it, and it's continuing to happen. Like I said, after the last game, I expected a completely different performance tonight from this team. We just didn't get it. Detroit Pistons teams, right, historically have always been successful when they play together, they move the basketball, they don't turn it over, and they play hard on every single defensive possession, period. That's it. That's how you win here. It's not by outscoring teams. No, that's not how you're gonna win here. And that's not how our team is built. We're not gonna win that way. So like I mentioned, man, very frustrating game. Cade actually left this game in overtime. He came down hard on his hip when he went in for a shot, and he had to leave the game. He didn't even play in overtime at all. That really hurt the Pistons. But the crazy part about it is that LaMelo Ball also fouled out a few seconds into overtime as well. So we didn't have Cade, and they didn't have LaMelo. And you saw that they struggled without LaMelo on the court. They struggled to get shots, right? But the Pistons just weren't able to get it going offensively in overtime. They just couldn't get it going. It kept turning the ball over, and they did not get easy shots. The Pistons did not get easy shots, man. And that takes me to the individual guys here. I have to start with Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren had a tough game last game, right? We know he struggled guarding Nikola Vucevic. He really struggled guarding him. And Vucevic was eating all game long, right? We understand that. He didn't play well defensively at all. Tonight, I expected him to have a bounce back game in a major way. I actually tweeted about it before the game started. I thought he was going to have a really big game. Why? Because he was being guarded tonight primarily by Charlotte center Moussa Diabate. Shout out to him. He went to Michigan. But other than that, Moussa Diabate is who was guarding JD all night. Moussa Diabate, for those who don't know, is 6'9", 210 pounds. Jalen Duren is 6'10", 250. This should have been barbecue chicken all night long for Jalen Duren. And I'm not even saying having plays drawn up for him or going to him, dumping it down into a post. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying on the glass in the paint, he should have dominated this game. Nobody on that team is strong enough or big enough to keep him out of the paint. Nobody. So for him to have 5 points, 9 rebounds, 1 steal on 3 shots is unacceptable. The 3 shots should have been more than 3 shots just because he should have been living on the offensive boards. He should have been living there. There's no reason that he has 5 points against Moussa Diabate, who, by the way, had 16 rebounds, a career high. So he's undersized, underweight, and he puts up a career high on the boards, and he pretty much doubles you up on the boards. You have 9, he has 16. There is no excuse for that, man. Like that's just bad. That's just bad, man. And y'all know how I feel about JD. I support JD more than most, right? Because he's a young player who needs time, who obviously needs to work on his fundamentals, right? Defensively, he needs to make sure that he's locked in all game. This is just bad, though, man. You should be able to get your own offense just because those guys cannot mess with you in the paint. There's nothing more to it, man. Like, there's no way that he should only have 9 rebounds and 5 points against Moussa Diabate, man. Come on. What are we doing? This is crazy. This is crazy, man. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with JD right now, man, but he just is not there. He's just not there. And aside from the fundamentals, he just doesn't really seem engaged, man. He doesn't seem like he understands. He just doesn't seem sure of himself right now. And he's definitely thinking way more than he's just playing basketball. If you look at his face, you can see he's thinking about everything. Everything that's happening on the floor, he's thinking about it. He's afraid to not make mistakes. You can see it. You can see it. But I need the Jalen Duren from last year who didn't care about that, who said, this is my area. We talk about Isaiah Stewart, right? Whenever Isaiah Stewart gets a bucket or gets an offensive rebound and gets fouled, what does he do? He points to his chest and said, this is mine. This is my area. This belongs to me. This paint is mine. Like, no, we've seen him when Anthony Davis is coming down the court on offense and he's trying to get into the painted area and Stu's pushing him out of the paint. Like, the pride is just not there, man. I don't know what's going on, man, but this was not a good look. This was not a good look by any stretch of the imagination tonight, man. I don't know where to go from here with him because this was the perfect opportunity. He wasn't playing Vucevic. He wasn't playing against offensively skilled big man who can stretch the floor and makes it hard for you because you're not great on the perimeter defensively. This isn't that. This is Moussa Diabate. He had a total of 1 point tonight. 1 point. 16 boards. So there's no reason that you should struggle in a game like this. Absolutely no reason. And I know I'm sounding redundant, but it's really just frustrating because we know he's better than that. Because we know he can give us so much more than that. I don't know what's going on. I hope he can get it together. And I'm not trying to get on him too hard, but come on, bro. Come on, man. You gotta give us more than that. Man, that was hard to watch, man. That was so frustrating, man. I just don't understand what's going on with him. And we talked about it before with him, man. Just the fundamentals, man. Too many times I see him going up for a rebound to grab a board with one hand. You got to go up strong, bro, and grab that rebound with two hands. You jump high enough to be able to jump above most people anyway. So jumping with two hands is not going to make it harder for you to grab a board. Too many times tonight, he was going up with one hand trying to grab a rebound, and the Hornets player would come from behind and tap it off of his fingertips. Things like that. Things like jumping out at Grant Williams in a half-court set from three. Like, no, why are you jumping out at him? Just put a hand up. Those are the things I'm talking about, right? And that's not even really what I'm talking about right now. I'm just talking about effort as far as tonight's game. The fundamentals, of course, obviously were not there either with the things I just mentioned, but the effort was just not there. So if your fundamentals aren't there and the effort is not there, you're not helping in any way. You're not helping at all. You're not giving us anything. Like I said, man, JD has a ways to go. He has a ways to go. I'm still not at the point of trading him yet because he seems like one of those guys that if you trade him, he's going to go somewhere else, figure it out, and go crazy. I'm not there yet, but I'm not any closer to being encouraged because it's not going to get any easier than Moussa Diabate. And I know I keep saying his name, but I'm standing for a reason, man. I feel like Stephen A. Smith talking about Tiago Splitter. Moussa Diabate. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's bad. That's bad. Let's get to the other guys. Let's get to K, man. Oh, man. Okay, K had 27 points, 10 assists, 7 boards, 1 steal, 5 turnovers on 9 of 26, 2 of 9 for 3, 7 of 9 from the free throw line. So, the last few games, Cade has struggled with his shot. Right? The effort is there. The effort is there. I don't really ever have any question about the effort from Cade. It's just the efficiency and the decision-making with him. He had 27 and 10. That looks good on paper, right? Even the 5 turnovers is not bad because that's still a 2-to-1 ratio. We always talk about that, right? But for me, there's too many empty possessions late with Cade. There's too many possessions late when we need something and he can't give it to us, or where he's turning the ball over in the backcourt. Like we can't have those mistakes from our star player. We just can't. If you're winded, take a seat. Let J.I. run the offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cannot afford those turnovers. It just can't happen. And like I said, it wasn't for lack of trying because he laid his body on the line. That's how he hurt himself. He went to the basket and didn't protect himself on the fall and came down his tailbone and hurt himself. And he ended up missing the rest of the game in overtime. But it's just the decision-making from him and the efficiency. You can't go 9 for 26, bro. I think last game he was 13 to 34. If you ain't got it going, man, move the ball. You know, I know he had 10 assists. Keep moving it. Keep getting guys involved. I know most of this game they were doubling him. He was making good decisions in the first half, right? He was waiting for the double to come over, being patient, and making the right read once the defense will overcommit, right? So he played well in the first half, but the second half, he just really struggled, man. He really struggled. I need more from K. I know he gave us 27 to 10 and 7. But it's not just about the numbers. I always say it's in key moments. It's when you're making the mistakes. It's when you're turning the ball over. It's the unforced errors. It's the dribbling the ball off your foot. Just things like that we just can't have from our star player. Right? We've got shooters now, right? We've got shooters now. We've got more offense now. We don't have we're not an offensive juggernaut, but we have pieces around him now to where he shouldn't be making these mistakes game after game. I would say K played a solid game. He didn't play a great game. He played a solid game. His usage was high. And the efficiency was low. So he's got to continue to work on that. Let's get to Jaden. So Jaden had 11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. So Jaden also did not have a good game. He was in foul trouble early. They called 2 quick fouls on him in the first few minutes of the game, and he had to sit. And it's crazy because When he sat, Beasley came in, and he got 2 quick fouls, and he had to sit. And Wendell Moore had to come in. It was a crazy game. This was a crazy game, but the whistle did not favor the Pistons early and often in this game. The whistle did not favor the Pistons. But he didn't have a great game. He made some key plays late. He shot 3 for 11 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 or 6 from the free throw line. I need him to work on those free throws, man. I need Jada in the 80s. From the free throw line. I need him in the 80s, right? The 66% tonight, the 70% on the season, that ain't gonna cut it because so much of his game is predicated on getting to the hoop, right? We know he can shoot the ball a lot better than most thought. Not me, but most thought, right? So we know he can shoot, but when he gets to the free throw line, you gotta knock him down. You have to knock him down. Otherwise, it's empty possessions, right? So he didn't play a great game tonight. He made some big shots late, and he did make some good reads throughout this game to get guys involved. But overall, he struggled. So hopefully he can bounce back next game. Tobias Harris played well, man. He had 26 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 30 minutes, 10 of 16 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3. So this is one of Tobias's better games, right? He gave you the offense and he gave you the effort defensively. The effort is never lacking defensively with him. He's just not a good defender, right? He's a maybe average defender, but he has been getting on the boards. We talk about it all the time. He has been pretty much near double-figure rebounds every game of the season. He had 8 again tonight. So he gave you the offense and the effort defensively. So I have no issues, no qualms with him tonight. 65% from 3. I mean, you'll take that, right? From Tobias. You're not asking him to be a primary guy. You're asking him to be a complimentary guy. And tonight he was that. So no issues with him. I hope he can continue to give us this on both sides of the ball because if he does, that's gonna bode well for the Pistons for sure. Tim Hardaway Jr. struggled again, man. He had 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. So this was just a bad game from the Pistons overall, man. They did everything possible to give this game away to the Hornets. They didn't play well offensively, and they didn't give effort defensively into the fourth quarter. You can't expect to beat anybody doing that. If you don't bring it on either side of the floor for close to 48 minutes, what are we doing? So the Pistons, they got to pick it up, man. They got to get it together up here. They have to find a way to lock in the games early, man. I know I said it already, but they have to find a way to lock into games early in the game. Have to. As far as the bench is concerned, Malik Beasley played solid offensively. He had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, a turnover, 5 for 15 from the field, 4 of 12 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line. So he gave us big shots, especially in the first half when we needed it, when the offense was really just stuck in the mud. When that bench unit came in, he really was a part of that bench brigade that at least kept the Pistons above water until they really turned it on in the fourth quarter. But there were just some successive plays in that fourth quarter, man, that really late in the fourth quarter that I think cost the Pistons the game. The Pistons were up 2, and he gets switched onto LaMelo Ball. Now, LaMelo has been on the heater all night. LaMelo went crazy tonight. LaMelo had 35 points, and Brandon Miller had 38. But LaMelo had 35 points tonight, and he was just pulling from everywhere. But the Pistons kept trying to fight over those screens on a pick and roll, leaving him wide open. And with his range, you can't afford to do that. So on this play, the Pistons were up 2. And Beasley presses up on him, and he allows LaMelo to get by him with ease. No resistance whatsoever. LaMelo goes to the basket, gets an easy shot. Tie game. Ensuing possession, Beasley is open in the corner, and Cade finds him. And Brandon Miller closes hard on Beasley because he knows he can shoot. Beasley pump fakes, Miller's out of position, but he doesn't go to the basket. He just stands there. And then when Miller recovers, then he decides to try to go to the basket baseline and tries to get a tough runner that didn't fall. So he follows the shot and gets the rebound and puts back up a point blank shot about 5 feet from the hoop. He rushes it and misses a shot. There's only like 2 seconds left on the clock. So the Pistons, well, I can't even say they would have won that game because they were up last time with that amount of time and they lost. But they were in position to win that game if he makes just one of those shots. If he doesn't wait for Brandon Miller to recover the drive, he has an easy layup. Easy layup. So I don't know what he was thinking on that play. It's the second game against the Hornets, and I feel like his contributions late really played a big part in us losing that game. But I'm not going to say he was the reason, but he made some plays on a stretch that really just hurt. But he's been having a great season for us. I'm not going to rack him too hard. It was just these key moments, man. The Pistons just find ways to just lose games. Stu played well, man. He had 13 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, stuff in the stat sheet, in 28 minutes. So he actually played more than Jalen during this game. And I'm paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to see if that's going to be something that we see more often. He shot 5 of 5 from the field. Didn't miss a shot. 3 of 4 from the free throw line. This is what I always say about Isaiah Stewart, man. You know what you're going to get from him game after game after game after game. Maybe not in the stat sheet, but effort. Just effort. If Jalen Duren gave the effort that Isaiah Stewart gave, he would have had a double-double. Easily. Easily. So Stu continues to do what he does best, man. That's just play hard in the paint, create extra possessions. 35% of his points on the season are off second chance points. That's 7th highest in the league. So that just goes to show the effort he plays with, because he's not an above average athlete. He's undersized and he's not as athletic as other big men, yet he's still 7th in the league at 35% when it comes to second chance points of his entire. So that just shows you what effort can do for you. When you're consistent and you bring that intensity every single game, you're going to impact the game in some way, shape, or form. It may not be points, but it could be rebounds. It could be second chance opportunities that you create by getting position in the paint and giving your team another opportunity. It's the little things that Stu does sometimes come up very, very big. So Isaiah Stewart, man, he's solid. Like I have no issues from night to night with him. He's gonna give you the same effort every single night. And aside from the measurables and the skill set, you can live with that because he can't control his athleticism. He can't control his height, his size. He can't control effort. And that's why it's frustrating when a guy like Jalen Duren, who is bigger, who is more athletic, the thing he can control, which is his effort, he's not taking advantage of. And he's getting outplayed by somebody like Isaiah Stewart every single night. So as far as Stu is concerned, shout out to you, bro. Fontecchio had 8 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, turnover, 3-7 from the field, 2-5 from 3. Solid game from him. Like I always say, when he's putting the ball on the floor, I'm uncomfortable. When he's just catching and shooting, that's what I want to see. He did have one nice little drive for a fake pass layup. That was cool, right? But I still don't want to see that. I still want to see him just catching and shooting. There was a few plays tonight where he caught the ball wide open and put the ball on the floor and went up with it. And he missed. Just catch and shoot, bro. Just catch and shoot. You don't need that dribble. You don't need that extra dribble. Just catch and shoot. So solid game from him. He played hard defensively, which he always does. So I can live with that. And that's pretty much it, man. Like tonight overall, which is a very frustrating game. The Pistons need to get their act together. They need to start these games stronger. They need to stop letting teams punch them in the face first. They need to be the initiator and not be reacting, especially on the road. When you're on the road, you can't get down like that. You got the crowd against you. You got all these things against you. The momentum is against you. The refs are against you. Like, you have to put yourself in position to be successful. And the way to do that is to get off to good starts and set the tone. That's how you win basketball games on the road. That's it. So now the Pistons, they sit at 7-10 on the season. The next game is Saturday against the Magic on the road, which is going to be tough because the Magic are a much improved basketball team. It's not going to be an easy game, man. The Pistons let one get away again. They should have won the last 2 games against the Bulls and the Hornets. They should be above 500 right now. The Pistons, just based off these last 2 games, should be 9-8. So what did you guys see tonight, man? What did you guys observe from this game? I know it's going to be another vent session in the comments, so y'all already know. Let me know down below what y'all thought about this game, man. Let's talk about it. Let's get it off our chest. Let's try to move on to this next game, man. And as y'all know, I'll be right back here post-game to break it all down. Appreciate y'all hanging with your boy. And as always, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Hotter than MTV and Y2K. You don't want to see buffed up Y2K. Breaking records set by Michael J. Bringing glory days back to the future, Michael J. He's way ahead of his time, he's got a plan, yeah. Led off by none other than his brother Cannon. If this is more than a game, it's a passion. While they sleep, we working, goals of my action. Jane and I be on the way, get that Puerto ride. Electrifying through the air, a Detroit shot. And it doesn't really matter if you love him, like him, hate him. That boy is born.